the first million is hard, but the second million is inevitable. It's not becoming a millionaire that's important. It's the person that you must become in order to become a millionaire. You have to become a completely different person. You have to develop character beyond 99% of the people in the world. You have to develop honesty and discipline and quality relationships and the willingness and the ability to work and set priorities and all kinds of stuff, because without that, nothing is possible. So once you earn your first million, then you are the person who can earn a lot of money. And the second million it's never easy. Never easy, but it's easier. The first million is really hard. The second million, not so much.
This is what teaching how to make $1 million step-by-step looks like. Because if you don't start here, it doesn't matter if I teach you what to do. If I don't show you how to become the person who will do it, you're not going to do it. It all begins with beliefs. So you believe that making $1 million a year is hard, so you don't do it. I don't believe making $1 million an hour is hard. So sometimes I have $1 million hours. And I know you don't think that's fair. But what you don't realize, I don't care. I don't care about fair. You know why? When I was in elementary school, my dad told me, boy, I'm gonna tell you something. Life ain't fair. Yes, sir. I knew life wasn't fair when I was in elementary school. So it starts with belief. So I'm gonna teach you something about belief that will help you accomplish anything that you desire to accomplish for the rest of your life. Never assign a level of difficulty to something before you even take the first step. People who achieve don't look at stuff and think about how hard it's going to be. Ever. It is just what it is. It's only going to be as hard as it is. It can't possibly be any harder than that. And so what happens is when you look at something, like people who desire to get to a certain weight, they look, well, but I've tried dieting before. Well, maybe dieting isn't the way to get to your desired weight. People who are not healthy, but they desire to get healthy. Yeah, but I've tried taking supplements and exercising and I don't like it. Okay, that's fine. But see, you already have demonstrated that you don't know what to do. And so now because you don't know what to do, you're assigning a level of difficulty to what to do based on the fact that you don't know what to do. That's insanity. It doesn't make any sense. So stop looking at things and assigning a level of difficulty to them, because when you look at something and you assign a level of difficulty to it that's bigger than you are disagreeing with God. How do I know? What is man that thou art mindful of him? The Son of Man that thou visitest him, for thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor. Thou madest him to have dominion over the works of thy hands. Thou hast put all things under his feet. So I've never come across a situation that's bigger than me, that's stronger than me, that's outside of the realm of my capability. If you'd go back 150 years, you'd think, like everybody thought, well, flying in the air is impossible. Orville and Wilbur's dad told him, if God wanted you to fly, he'd have put wings on your back. See, we allow our beliefs to stop us from taking the action that would work if we would work it. Are y'all tracking? Okay. Cool. So, how do you make $1 million step by step? Number one, don't assign a level of difficulty. Y'all tracking? Number two, decide to do it. Just decide, I'm going to do it. And once you decide to do it, then you can let your subconscious mind start looking for the answers to how to do it. Here's what I found out. You don't have to know how to do something in order to get it done. In fact, there are a lot of things right now, I'm not talking about sometime in the future, there are a lot of things right now in your life that you know how to do, but you ain't doing them. Decide to do it. Now, decide does not mean the same thing as choose. Choose means pick one. See, if you make a choice, you can change your mind.
One of the things that we know is that the average person really uses not much more than 1 or 2% of their thinking capacity. And we don't use 10%, because if you could use 10% of your brain, you could accomplish anything you could dream of on this earth. Our role in this session is to show you how to use more of it. We know some things about the brain. We know one thing with regard to intelligence. is that intelligence is not a matter of IQ. Intelligence is a way of acting and a way of thinking. When we look at people who are apparently extremely intelligent, we find one thing. We find that they are not much more intelligent than you or I, but they have developed their intelligence. So let's put it this way. Intelligence is developed through effort. Intelligence is developed the same way that muscles are developed. A person who has an intelligence with regard to a business or a profession, a lawyer or a doctor or a business person, is not necessarily a person who was born with that genius. It's a person who has developed it as a result of years and years of study and practice. So look upon intelligence like a muscle. IQ is malleable. IQ, or percentage points, or mental ability, is malleable over a broad range. Remember we talked about the case of positive expectations where one student's IQ jumped 25 points in the course of one school year. This is very common. We've had many cases on record where IQ points, in other words, the total thinking ability of an individual has jumped 10, 20, 30 points as a result of a particular way of learning or a particular way of studying. And we'll talk about some of these ideas. So IQ is malleable over a broad range. What I'm saying is that you are far smarter than you know. You are far more intelligent than you've ever given yourself credit for. We also know that IQ is a matter of self-concept. There are many people who have been found to be extremely intelligent, but because they've been brought up in negative environments, had been convinced at an early age that they weren't particularly bright. One gentleman who was encouraged to leave school in the 10th grade because they felt he was a complete academic failure was turned out later to have an IQ of 175 when he tried to enlist in the Army. After he got out of the Army, he started 6 businesses and became a multi-millionaire by the age of 28 because they proved to him that he was brilliant. The reason he didn't pay attention in school was not because he didn't have the intelligence, but because he learned everything the first time it was mentioned and he was totally bored. You find that many people are far smarter than they realized but as a result of previous experiences, their self-concept has them functioning at levels far below their intelligence, and that is true for you in almost every single case.
So it starts with our beliefs. So here's what we believe about making $1 million. I know because this is what I used to believe. Before I ever made $1 million, here's what I believed. I believed it was hard. Making $1 million is hard. Why did I believe making $1 million is hard? Because the best job I had ever had in my life, I was making $30,000 a year. And the work that I did to make $30,000 a year was hard. So if $1 million is 35 times more than $30,000, then making $1 million, it's just logical. It has to be 35 times harder. Because I don't realize that the things that I do that make $30,000 a year, regardless of how many hours I work or how hard I work in those hours, is never going to make me $1 million a year. So I've got a faulty equation based on faulty programming, and so I never stop to think about how do you make $1 million. And since the thought never enters my head, I never think about how to do it. And when I think about it, the only thought I have about it is how hard it is. Then I avoid thinking about it because then I have to think about all that hard work.